is Diya Sethi, and I will be going over the disease Salmonellosis. I will be going over background, causes, people at risk, symptoms, typhoid fever, HIV, prevention, treatments, and future research. Some background information. What is Salmonellosis? Salmonellosis is a common bacterial infection, also known as Salmonella gastroenteritis. It is a zoonotic disease, which means it can be passed from animal to human. The definition is food poisoning caused by consumption of food contaminated with bacteria of the genus Salmonella, characterized by the sudden onset of abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, and fever. There are several types of Salmonella. The most common are Salmonella bacterium and non-typhoid Salmonella, also known as NTS. The most common in the United States is Salmonella typhimurium and Salmonella enteritis. Salmonella typhimurium and enteritis are the most severe because they can cause dangerous fevers. The infection process is where the disease enters through the mouth and goes through the digestive system. Once it reaches the small intestines, the bacterial cells begin to multiply. This is an image of the digestive system. Some causes can be improperly cooked meat, the animals or animal feces. These international traveling because germs can spread easily, and also any food can be contaminated, which includes vegetables and fruits, because they can be mixed with the meat or not properly cleaned. Some animals, such as turtles, lizards, and snakes, are more likely to have salmonella than others. Chicks and young birds are also more likely to carry salmonella in their feces. So this is a diagram showing which meats are more or less likely to contain salmonella. A complication involved in this is that infected meat looks, tastes, and smells the same as normal meat, so you can never be sure whether or not it is contaminated with salmonella. Some people, such as the elderly, infants, people with HIV, and people with weak immune systems, are more likely to contract salmonella. This is because their immune systems are not strong enough to fight off the disease. Some symptoms include abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, chills, headaches, muscle pains, dehydration, and blood in the digestive tract. There is no vaccine to prevent salmonella. People who are less likely to contract salmonella should just make sure that their meat is always properly cooked, that they never eat raw eggs or unpasteurized milk, that they always wash hands, utensils, and their kitchen area. They should always wash their hands after being in contact with animal feces, or the environment in which animals are often. You should always send back uncooked food at restaurants to make sure that it is properly cooked. People with higher risks of getting salmonella should never be in direct contact with uncooked meat. Also, infants should be breastfed because they can contract salmonella from certain baby formulas. Infants should also not be handled simultaneously while one is cooking food. The government can also help in preventing salmonella. They can provide proper sewage systems to make sure they are always clean and working. Food processing companies can also make sure that all their machines and employees are all in full health. Nutrition and product information should always be available. Salmonella tends to symptoms of salmonella tend to show up after 12 hours to 3 days later. Non-typhoid salmonella tends to last for 4 to 7 days. Typhoid salmonella and Salmonella enteritis last for several months. In typhoid salmonella, it often leads to hospitalization because salmonella spreads from the intestines to the bloodstream. This could also cause death. Typhoid and enteric fever caused by salmonella is often called a system-invasive disease, which means it spreads from one area in your body to all over. There's a 10 to 20% chance of death when it is left untreated. However, less than 1% of the time is this properly treated. It occurs 8 to 14 days after developing salmonella. Bile can also become infected, which leads to other forms of infection in the intestines. There are many complications involved with with people who have HIV. It becomes extremely dangerous for them to contract Salmonella because they are more likely to suffer greatly. Because they are incapable of fighting off the disease. This also means that they are more likely to contract Salmonella more than one time. Until 1995 to 1996, when antimicrobial therapy was developed, Salmonella and HIV were always connected. However, in third world countries, they are still highly connected because they cannot provide proper therapeutic techniques. Antibodies and HIV are interlocked. When an individual with HIV has a weakened immune system, it makes it impossible for them to fight off Salmonella. Scientists hypothesized that HIV-infected people could not create antibodies to fight off Salmonella. However, they noticed that these are the only people who actually do have antibodies that can fight off Salmonella. However, they themselves cannot use these antibodies, and other people who don't have HIV can use it to fight off non-typhoid Salmonella. When an individual is being diagnosed, first a doctor looks at symptoms that the person has. Once they realize this person has these symptoms, they take laboratory tests, usually through urine, to determine the type and whether they have Salmonella or not. There are many, many different forms of treatment for Salmonella. For non-typhoid Salmonella, there are no specific treatments because after 4 to 7 days, it disappears. However, to decrease symptoms, one can always drink large amounts of fluid, and in some cases, when hospitalization is necessary, fluids can be injected directly into the individual's veins. Another form of therapy is antimicrobial therapy. This is where they use antibiotics such as penicillin to terminate Salmonella. However, sometimes the antibiotics are immune because as the animals were grown, they were fed these antibiotics. This can be controversial because in cases such as Salmonella, they will be unable to protect the person. Another form is supportive technique. This is where one uses fluids and electrolyte replacements to fight off Salmonella. It also controls nausea and vomiting. Secondly, there's antimicrobial therapy, where all bacteria is killed, whether it's beneficial or pathogenic. This is used to stop Salmonella from spreading all over the body. However, it is necessary to be used once it has spread everywhere. It is given for a long period of time through the veins. In some situations, there is a plasmid-mediated antibiotic resistance, and in these cases, there are worse symptoms and longer periods of pain. Also, despite common belief, drugs that are supposed to reduce symptoms such as diarrhea actually cause more issues and lengthen symptoms. There is also cephalosporin treatment, which is a type of antibiotic that is a last resort. It is used for intense cases of fever. In these instances, however, there is also antibiotic resistance. If antibiotic resistance continues in the same pattern, last resort drugs such as cephalosporin will be unable to be used, which would cause more deaths. In future research, scientists will focus on developing a vaccine to completely eliminate Salmonella. I would like to acknowledge my parents, my sister, Dr. Moses Williams, Dr. Charles Snibb, Mr. David Robinson, Ms. Crystal Lau, and my classmates. These are my references, and I'd like to open the floor to questions, comments, or constructive criticism.
On the tree, I think it was treatment class, one of them. What was the plasmid thing?
Oh, the plasmid-mediated. It's where the nucleus in your cell rejects the antibiotics. Like it won't take it. Tori?
Where is Salmonella most commonly found?
It's most commonly found in third world countries because they don't have proper egg cleaning techniques, and also they don't have the money to support to fight off Salmonella.
On one of your slides, you had a picture of the Royal Children's Hospital. Why did you have a picture of that?
Just that it was a hospital.
Well, I can you go back to the slide. I forgot what was given on the slide. Salmonella?